Hello, hello, everybody. We're so glad to see you, or you see us on tonight. This is going to be an awesome, amazing discussion. Go ahead now. You want to go ahead and you want to share. You want to go ahead and like. You want to go ahead and let your friends know that the King's table is going on right now. And I'm going to tell you right now that the King's table is basically, we all know who is the Almighty King is Jesus Christ. And so on tonight, it is the King's table, the table of truth. And the truth is from biblical principles and our own personal testimonies, life, experience, also, of course, the word of God. And so we want to talk about relationships on tonight. Who's out there with us? Let us know that you are watching. Go ahead and leave us a comment, some hearts. We're just so excited to be here on tonight. The King's table. We have been waiting for this. And on tonight, we are going forth. Now, I know many, hello, good evening, Marilyn Green. Thank you for joining. We're so excited to have you here with us on tonight. Now, there are other people that have platforms that have different discussions. And so what God gave me on tonight was to go from a biblical standpoint of different discussions. So that's basically what the King table is. So go ahead and get ready. Get ready. Are you ready? I know you're excited as we are to get this conversation started. And we want you to know that you can feel free to ask any question talking about the subject that we will be talking about on tonight. Yes, Marilyn Green, First Lady. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining. We will be talking about on tonight relationships between a man and a woman is the relationships we're dealing with on tonight. And we're going to deal with from a standpoint of dating. And we're even going to visit with marriage as well, give some nuggets on how to, once we get married, we need to keep the fire burning. We need to stay, in covenant with God and, really let that marriage portray and be everything that the Father wants it to be. We want to talk about this relationship. Good evening, Lisa Hawkins. Good evening, Pastor Ronald Green. You guys, we are just so excited here. I'm going to allow my guest to just tell his name and introduce himself and anything else he would like to say tonight, because we are about to get started into this conversation and it's going to be hot. I'm going to let you know now that if there are any people in the room that are under 21, this may not be the conversation for them on tonight. So go ahead and let them go in another room, because we want to be freely. We want this to be a safe place, and we want to talk about relationships. So go ahead and introduce yourself, my guest on tonight.
But thank you, first of all, Yolanda. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a co-host with you on this evening. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Keith Tucker. I am out in the Upper Marlboro, Maryland area. And let me tell you, I'm excited tonight. I'm looking forward to the night. And I'm looking forward to learning some nuggets as well, because I do not know it all. And I'm always humble enough to learn more.
Yes, yes, I agree. We are very humbled to be here on tonight. And so we are just going to have a good discussion, and we can glean from each other. We are, all in this together. We want to have an exciting night talking about relationships. Okay, so I want to tell you that There was also a post that was posted about a week ago, and I had a few comments with some questions on there about relationships. So we're gonna hit those, as well as I had a few young ladies to give me some very interesting questions about relationships, and you are free and you are welcome to put your questions in the comment on tonight, and we will be answering them. Okay, you guys. Okay, are you ready now? We're about to get into it. Okay, good evening. Good evening. Oh, my dear friend from Africa, I believe is joining tonight. Oh, it's so good to have you here. All right. So let's start. First of all, before we just get into the meat of this discussion, what is a relationship between a man and a woman? What is a relationship? There are so many different relationships. We have mother and father, daughters. There's different types of relationship. But what is a relationship between a man and a woman? Let's put a little defined this into that on tonight. All right, Keith. All right, all right. We're on the hot spot tonight. And these are not questions. I didn't have a chance to really, just study or get a revelation on anything. I just was able to jot them down a little bit before because I wanted to be fair with us so that we could both give our good perspective of the questions on tonight. So
Yes.
if you were telling somebody, what is a relationship between a man and a woman, what would you define that as?
I would say two people that are equally yoked, that's going in the same direction, the same vision. And even if they're going in opposite directions, they have the ability to hold each other accountable to make sure that even if we're going in different directions, we have to talk about it. But it's two people that have to share the same vision, the same common goals, and have a desire to do what's right in the sight of God.
Woo! Y'all. Okay, go ahead, y'all, and flood these comments. Did y'all hear that? That was good. Oh my good. Oh my God. That was so good. Now, one thing I really want to focus on, did you guys hear him say equally yoked? How many times do we say that in the church about being equally yoked? So it's very hard to be in a relationship that's going to thrive the way that God intended it to, when you have two people, like Keith said, that have different mindsets. They have different thoughts. Even a lot of times, if you have a different religion, now you're gonna
Yes.
it's gonna be a struggle, because you may believe in man and woman one. Who knows? There's a lot of things going on right now. There's some people that are believing. I was looking at Facebook a few weeks ago and saw where they believed in bringing another woman into their marriage. And you guys, so we know we have to be equally yoked. Okay, Keith, tell us a little bit, just for the ones that may not know, what does equally yoked really mean? What does that mean? For, we might have some people that's not churchy or into God or whatever. We want everybody to be able to understand the conversation on tonight.
Yes, and when I say equally yoked, I mean a good one example is just like you said earlier, religion. It plays a major part when two people are two different religions. It's going to be hard because I may want to name, let's say I married a Muslim. I may want to name my child a regular name, but they may say, hey, I want my child to have a Muslim name. Then we got, I go to church on Saturday, you go to church on Sunday. I believe that this is what happens when you die. I believe this is what happens. So when you're not equally yoked, it's hard for a relationship to work because now we're going to have disputes on and off about who's right. And even though we may feel that we're both right, one of us is not exactly right. And when you're not equally yoked, I'm telling you, in a relationship, it's a struggle to make things work. And you're going to be trying to find ways to come in common ground. And sometimes it's hard to do when you're not equally yoked, when you're not sharing the same vision and the same conversations.
Exactly. And I do want to add that when we don't be equally yoked, and how you say it causes like a chaos or whatever,
Yes.
sometimes you'll try to lower your standards,
Yes.
and okay, he's okay, we not really equally yoked, but I mean, well, he believe XYZ, I believe, well, maybe I need to take another look at the way, he sees it, or it can cause a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and it won't give you that good foundation in order
Yes.
to be able to build that relationship. Okay, so we got two questions on the floor already. They are starting. Come on, you guys. We have questions, so we're gonna be good. But if you have some, we want to answer them on tonight. So this one says, it says, how do you date once you have a prospect? And I believe from because they have another question before that. So we're talking still from like a Christian point of view. How do you date once you have a prospect? Okay,
I,
go
I
ahead,
would
Keith.
I would say it's important to date a person and get to know them first before you marry them. So talking is very important. And, the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So while dating, you want to know what are their goals, what are their vision. Do they have a job? Do they plan on getting a job? Uh, do they like marriage? Do they go to school? Are they joining the military? Have they left the military? You want to get to know a person, and so that you can really understand who you get involved with. And single ladies, don't just focus on how a man is formed and figure out what he's full of. See, you want to focus. See, a lot of single ladies focus on a man's calves, but you missing out on his character. You're focusing on his abdominals, but you're not focusing on what he's ambitious about.
Okay.
You're
Oh yes, you
you're
are
looking at,
here.
yes, and they're looking at his chest, but he's a man. But is he a man of chivalry? Now I'm saying the form is just as important. But when God formed Adam from the dirt, He also filled him with the divine as well. So you want to make sure that not only do you see the outside, get to know the person's inside as well.
Yes, yes. That's so interesting that you said that, because I had that conversation with someone on today. And I said to them, I said, a lot of people are going to miss Mr. Right because we're so busy, and vice versa. A lot of people are going to miss Mrs. Right because you're so focused on, is Mrs. Right a size five? If
Right.
that's your preference, and is she pow pow pow, all the numbers in the right place. We're so busy going to be focusing on those type of things when we're going to miss out on a good man and a good woman. Now don't get me wrong, of course we know that we're even as Christians, you're attracted first to a man, and a man is attracted to a woman. Of course you are, but don't let that be your main focus
Yes.
of what he looks like. Because can I tell you, if that's your main focus, what happens if that man is in a house fire, and
Yes.
those looks and all of that is not there? Are you in love with, will you be in love with that man, him for himself, or will you be in love with the outer appearance or what he looked like, or the buffness and all of those good things? So that is something that we really want to think about, and we really want to take in consideration when dating. Go ahead and keep the questions going, you guys. Okay, our next question is, um what advice do you have for single? That kind of went with what we just said. What advice do you have for the single Christian woman who is ready to date but they have no prospect? It's a good one. So what advice do we give our single ladies, and men, you know, to be doing when they have no prospects?
I will always say, first of all, make sure that you develop you first. You want to become the queen and the king yourself first. You want to make sure that when you come to the table, all your ducks are in order. So get yourself right first, and then number two, love you too, because one of the first people that can love you like you want to be loved is yourself, and you want to make sure that you love yourself. You don't need no man or no woman to define what that love is. You define it with yourself. So start within, start making sure that you love yourself. I'm talking about completely any stretch marks, any deformities. You want to love yourself in spite of, because when you love yourself, it shows on the outside, and that will attract a man. But always allow the man to come to you, because the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It shouldn't be the other way around. The man should be seeking you. So get yourself in order, and the king will find you.
Yes, yes, I 100% agree. And just to add to that, I always say, when you're wanting and desiring to even get to the next level of having a prospect of dating, yes, self-love is number one. You need to, like you said, love yourself.
Yes.
How are you going to even try to love another person when you have not fully learned how to love who you are
Yes.
and get to know yourself?
Yes.
Who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know your likes, your dislikes? Do you know what you're looking for in a mate or a man, or what you want out of a dating? Do you even know? So it's definitely, you need to spend some time with yourself to have conversations about, what is it that you even, are looking for in a guy, or vice versa, a female. What do you even want? What characteristics are really, the concrete of what you're looking for to have that relationship that you can make, long lasting, that, prayerfully you're dating to, get married, not just dating with, no intentions, or, to continue to just date for, infinity with no
Yes.
commitment. So that is something, we want to look at too. Okay, so Ronald Green says, can two people with two different religions have a successful relationship? Hmm. I have some thoughts. You want to go?
I would say I would say it's going to be tough, very,
Yeah.
very tough, because based on what religion they are, they may serve on a different day than you serve. They may have different versions of how they feel that a man should treat a woman. It's very, very tough, and to me, that comes back to being equally yoked. And
Yes.
when how can two people come together and they're not into agreements? I just think that it opens up the door for a lot of arguments down the road. Now, can it work? Anything's possible. When you
Right.
when God's in it, anything's possible. But I just want to let you know it's gonna be some bumpy roads down that path.
Yes, it will. Even when you bring children into that
Yes.
relationship later, when you're married and you have two different ways that you believe in the teaching of your children.
Yes.
The wife is this religion, and so she wants her children to, come and go to her church and be a part of that, and the dad is this one, and that causes a rift, and the children are like, so
Yes. And God's
um
got an author of confusion.
yes, and so the children don't know, which way to even go. So I'm like you, Keith. I'm not gonna say what's not cannot be done, but I will say I think it makes it very difficult
Yes.
and very hard, and it'll cause issues in the long run, and disagreements and things of that sort. And so, if you're in a situation like that where, let's say, you were saved and later the mate became saved, and then y'all, you were already in one religion and now you're going to be in another, faith and
Yes.
religion,
Yes.
then you have to, like you said, pray and use a lot of wisdom. You have
Yes.
to really be in a place to hear from God to how to deal with that, because it's going to be a lot of bumpy roads here and there with a lot of
Yes.
different things, having two different beliefs, and just a lot, because even when you not only having those two different beliefs, but you're getting two different, teaching, even when you go to wherever you're going for your worship or whatever,
Yes.
service, your pastor is teaching you this is how the man should do at home, and this is the wife duty, and then this one says something very contrary to what the other one is saying, and now
Yes.
that's going to
Yes.
be a friction, and the wife would be like, well, my pastor say men should be doing it. You be like, no, that I don't know what your pastor talking about, but this is what my pastor say. This is what we see. So it's just it's one of those things that, if you're in that situation, then, God is able to do anything, but I would not recommend anyone who is
Yes.
not married, you're a single person. I would say pray and really, listen to God to be
Yes.
on one accord, to be equally yoked. And
Yes.
it just makes the whole relationship have a better foundation to be able to, you know, do everything that you would want to do to be, be known as successful. And then two, um, people have different definition of what successful is. You have
Yes.
to look at that as well, because one could have an idea that success is, my wife staying at home and I'm going out to work, and she bring the children up, at home, and this and that. Where a whole nother relationship will say, well, my ideal success is you working and you have your business and you're successful in that, and I'm working and I have my business, I'm successful in that. And so, you know it all have to do with too, what are the definition of that person, um as far as success.
Yes.
So yes, all right, you guys, you are cooking, as the old people say. I don't know if you heard this saying. I heard it like a year ago, and I've been using it ever since. But we are cooking with grease. You guys
Yes.
are amazing.
Yes.
We are having an awesome time on tonight. Okay, so one of the questions that I got from one of the young ladies, and you guys can keep the questions coming. She said to me, she said, can living together before marriage make it easier? Now, I know we're talking about from a biblical perspective or whatever, but we still want to answer this question, because there are some people who are Christians who they would have this question as well. So we definitely go ahead and answer it, Keith. So can two people can living together before marriage make that marriage better, easier? Some people believe and think that.
I think I think living together before marriage can be a little tough because a lot of times people get comfortable and they feel like why should I get married when we're doing married things right now? We're basically doing everything now, and marriage is just a piece of paper. Why should I rush to get married when we're doing everything we want to do freely without being married? I think living together opens the door for a person to feel like, hey, and no, you know what? I tell you this too. It opens the door for this because we're living together and we're not married. If I get in an argument with you, I can just get up and leave. I can go home. I ain't got to answer to you. Bye. See you later. In fact, I can change my number and don't even reach out to you again. But marriage, it puts a whole different thing because you ain't going nowhere. We gonna sit on this couch. We gonna figure it out, and we're not gonna let our wrath go down before the sun. So it's a little bit tougher doing that before marriage because you just open up the door for free will for people just to act all kind of crazy.
Yes, I totally. Oh my goodness, we're so much on the same page. I totally agree. That myth of people believing and thinking that, oh, well, if we play house, or we, come together in a house and we do everything that a married couple do, then I'll know you better and all that. No, it to be honest, it just causes a lot of more friction.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of men will think, well, I mean, I already have, what's the saying, ladies? I already have I know we're not cows, you guys, but that saying, I already have the cow, so why buy the milk?
Right.
So, a lot of guys actually will think that way. Why
Yes.
make a commitment to someone that I mean, we're already having the benefits of marriage. And then
Yes.
some people that don't understand the real sacredty of what marriage is, they're just like, oh, it's just an added piece of paper and just
Yes.
a ring or whatever. But we know as Christians, it is so far more, what marriage is than, the ring is a very significant very significant piece to say that, I'm taken, I'm spoken for. But
Yes.
a lot of times people just want to say, oh, well, we don't need that. We can just, live together and just, play house, but
Yes.
it's
And
it's nothing good in it.
they feel like they're single. Like you said, it's we're living together, but we're not married. So technically, I'm single. If I see somebody else, I'm really got free will to go talk to somebody because I'm not married. There's no limitations on them. So living together, that's a that's a wrong road you want to take. Trust me.
I agree. I agree. It's just it doesn't, you're really not committed.
Yes.
A lot of times you feel like, oh yeah, he's my boyfriend, we live together, we're committed, we didn't know, you're really not. Even though you think, that you are, but you're really not
Nope.
committed, because like you said, in the blink of a moment, as soon as
Yes.
I say, oh my goodness, you keep leaving that cap off that toothpaste, and this driving me
Yes.
crazy, and
Yes.
I'm done, I'm through, I'm
Yes.
finished, I'm out of here. And or something, I'm being being humorous, but even something far greater than that, it just doesn't give you the mindset to just stick and stay and say, hey, we have to work this out. We have to work this
That's right.
out. Amen. Thank you, Ella Bridges. She says good eating. Yes. Oh, okay. She's saying good eating. Okay, but it's good eating too, because we're eating some good relationship food here on tonight. So it's good eating too. So okay, somebody has switched the channel. All right. All right. So we're still frying on tonight. It says, what do married couples do when they start growing apart from one another? Woo! Yes.
Mm. I
Woo.
would say marriage is
Ah,
not easy. And you're gonna have some stormy times in your marriage, but it doesn't mean give up. Picture this: if you are a homeowner or you know someone that's a homeowner, you probably been or seen some type of storm take place, and oftentimes those storms can basically mess up your roof. Now, what you do is when your roof gets messed up, you call the professionals. You call someone that's professional that can assess the damage of what happened to your roof. Now, once you do that, and they assess the damage, they give you the price and everything. And what happens is they'll go ahead and rebuild the roof. And a lot of times when they
woo.
rebuild it, the value goes up. So what I would say is when things are starting to go different, seek professional help. Seek your pastor. Your pastor's there to give you guidance and and lead you right back in professional help, and trust and believe that goes a long way, and that can help increase the value of your marriage. And like I said, sometimes once it's rebuilt, it's better than what originally was worth.
That was a great analogy. I love it. Um, that is so true. That is so true. It's got to be two people who are, on the same page, because, in order, and using that analogy that you just used, in order to, when it comes time to the insurance company getting all the facts of all, assessing all of the damage and knowing, what has exactly happened, you can't be saying, oh, it was a fire. Then the next person say, oh, we had water. It was a flood that came through. You got to be on the same page.
Yes.
You got to be on the same page to actually call it for what it is. To know, okay, we're in trouble here, but there's nothing that's impossible or nothing that is too hard for God. But we've
Nothing.
got to be on the same page that we want to see our house in that same scenario being built. So we
Yes.
got to be on the same page that I want my marriage to represent God. I want my marriage to last. I want my marriage to be bigger and better than it was, in the process of whatever happened to bring about, the damage that needed to
Yes.
be assessed. So you definitely want to be, on the same page that,
Yes.
we can work together, and make this marriage even better, because with God, no matter how much something seems like it's dead, God can blow on it and bring
Yes.
life
Yes.
just like that.
Yes.
Just like that. And so you definitely want to rekindle, rebuild, like Keith said, seek some type of counseling, whether it's your pastor, some professional counseling. Um, you want to do those things, and a marriage to be successful, it's work, and it's two people willing. So definitely you can bring that marriage. I have seen a marriage go down to look like it was pure coded, pure dead, and God brought life back in that
Yes.
marriage. But it
Yes.
was two people wanting to see that happen, two people working to see that happen. So that was a very good question. Come on, you guys. You are awesome. I tell you. Okay, we about to turn. Oh, y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for this? This was also from some of the young ladies that I was getting some relationship questions from. And one of them said, "Ooh, what makes a man cheat
Mm.
even if he has everything?" Woo. Okay.
I got a couple of things. I think I think what happens is sometimes we can get too curious. There's an old saying that curiosity killed the cat. Sometimes we can get too curious, and sometimes we hang around too many single friends who
Okay.
tell their stories about, oh man, I did this last night. Oh, so and so did this to me last night. And then even though you're getting stuff at home, it's not at the same level of excitement that your friend who's single is telling you, man, I did this, man, we did.
Okay.
And now curiosity sets in. You start saying to yourself, I wonder if I just try it once. And then sometimes people think, if I just try it once, but it's like a drug. People think that they can do drugs one time, but it gets so addictive and you do it over and over and over. And I feel like curiosity is one thing, and then we got TV and
Woo.
pornography. Pornography
Yes.
is an addictive thing, and sometimes we start watching that, and then they're doing stuff on another level, and then we're just doing basic stuff at home. Now you
Okay.
feel like I gotta go out here and see what else is out there for me.
Yes. And I tell you, cheating, oh my God, you're opening the doors to so many things when you go outside of your marriage, because whoever you're cheating with, you may be bringing in all kinds of things,
Soul
you
ties,
know.
yes,
Yes. And we're in this 2000 century where I'm telling you, you never know the mind frame of somebody you're cheating with. They might try to come after your wife, come after your
yes,
family.
yes,
You're in a dangerous zone, it's not worth it. The flesh, and like he said, there are other components that a lot of times will cause people to have a mind frame to look, across the fence, or
yes,
to look somewhere else, when you need to just be right there, tilling what's on the side of your fence,
yes,
dealing with what's there to make it become, some things, better than, that you want, instead of looking somewhere else. So,
yes. And I'd say this too. Many people think the grass is green on the other side, but your
all the
grass
time.
is just as green if you took time to water it.
Okay. Okay. And then yours will be the real green grass, and you looking over that fence and you didn't realize they had the artificial
That's
grass.
right. That's right.
Okay. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So someone says, we have a comment here. Someone says, what do you do when a spouse cheats? Oh, you
Mm.
guys, okay, okay. You own it tonight, okay.
Uh,
What do you do?
so I know a lot of times the first thing people want to do is say, you know what, I'm leaving. I can't take that. But everyone has a different breaking point. You know, it's easier said than done to say, I'm just gonna get up and leave. But sometimes you love a person enough, and if the person is sincere about they're sorry and then they make change. So it's one thing you got to be sincere about the apology, but then you got to make change. That means when I say change, if I come to you after you cheated and I said, let me see your cell phone, you still talking about let me go through it first, and you still doing stuff that make me think no, it's time to go, because you still got residue of that on you. But if a person makes a sincere apology and make a sincere change, and say, hey, look, here's my cell phone, you know, if you want to know where I'm going, you can put a tracking, you know, that right there can open up the door. Because I believe that this is an old saying that people say, "Oh, once a cheater, always a cheater." I don't believe that. You know, I've seen some people, and I know some people that have cheated on their spouse and have
Me too.
turned away from it, and they're doing excellent. So I believe it can work, but it got to be a sincere apology and a sincere about face change in the relationship.
Yes, that's so true. And and it's going to take time.
Yes,
And
yes,
that person that cheated needs to show some patience,
yes,
because if the female dealt with you cheating, now she asks for your phone, or she's leery when you say at 10 o'clock at night, I'm finna go to the gas station, I'm finna go, whatever. You need to be patient and
yes,
understand you're not going to win all of that trust you had
yes,
prior to you cheating. You're not going to have those same privileges, and you need to be patient and not be like, oh my, I said I was sorry. What do you
right.
want me to do? No, you need to have some humility.
Yes. Change your phone number, change your Facebook account. It got to be some change.
Exactly. You need to fight for your
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I will say it was a time when, I was like, oh no, he cheats. Oh no, he got
Me
to
too.
go.
Me too. I was saying
But
too.
like you said, Keith, it's so much easier to say than to really do. And there's so many other factors. You didn't build a life with this person. You've been with them,
Yes.
what, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 something years, 30. I mean, it's just so much that play different parts into that.
Yes.
um
Yes.
but it can be rebuilt. And again, I'm gonna always say it's never gonna take one person. It's gonna
Yes.
have to be two individuals
Yes.
that's making a conscious decision. Let's work on this. And
Yes.
then two, it needs to be talked about, and the conversation needs to be had. Why did you cheat?
Yes.
I know a lot of times we just all be like, oh, just sex was just a sex. But let's why though?
Yes.
Let's have a discussion about that.
Yes.
And I will say too, women, if you're in that situation, you cannot be beating yourself up saying, oh, if I had done this, then he probably
That's
wouldn't
right.
cheat.
That's
Oh, if
right.
I had looked like this. Oh, if I had dropped 50 pounds. No,
Yes.
no, no. Because there's a deeper, bigger issue that is going
Yes.
on. So you cannot just blame or fault or look at yourself as being the reason why that person cheated. However, because I mean, if we use excuses, I mean, it could just be anything. Well, I didn't like what you cooked last night, so
That's
I
right.
was like, let me go cheat. Let me go find somebody else that could cook something better. And I mean, you just, Mm-mm. You have to be rooted and grounded in the word of God and
Yes.
be committed unto God, who is the whole reason why, marriage even came about. People want to take God out, but
Yes.
how do you do that? You really just, I mean, people have done it, but how successful are you, within your marriage? Okay. All right. So we have another question here. Um, that's a very good question. It says, what do you do when you want counseling, but your spouse don't? Ooh.
Mm.
Mm.
I would say go continue to go to God, because He has the ability to not only change things, but change people and change situations. You have to pray on his or her behalf and pray that they will end up getting to a point where they do want counseling. And then you continue to be the example. If they don't want it, you go ahead and do it anyway. And you keep going over and over and be consistent about it. And after a while, sooner or later, I feel that God can one day make that person realize, you know what? I need to go ahead and do this with my wife or my husband. But you do it. You set the example, and then after a while, I feel like in due time, and just like before earlier, don't expect it to happen overnight. Think about Jack and the Beanstalk. Some people think that when they plant a seed, it's just gonna grow overnight. The only seeds that grew overnight was Jack and the Beanstalk, and we know that was
Okay.
a fairy tale. So all you want to do is continue to plant seeds, plant them, plant them. Sometimes you're gonna plant on good ground, sometimes you're gonna plant on bad ground, but it's not your decision to find out what ground are you planting on. You just got to keep planting the seeds. You continue to go to counseling, and sooner or later, I think that it's going to make him or her finally say, you know what, I don't want my husband or wife to do this alone.
Yes. I will say a lot of times, we don't want to put in the work, and it's going to be work when dealing
Yeah.
with a spouse who saying they don't want to go to counseling. you know it's something really you're going to have to really go to God and really be in
Yes.
prayer about
Yeah.
how to work through that and how to deal with that. But I will say, I pray to God, I would never have to walk in there, but I will say, if I'm constantly, I'm like, okay, you done did this. We need to seek some counseling,
Yeah.
because I need to know, that I'm in a secure, relationship here. I
Yeah.
don't want to be in a relationship where you're going to be constantly doing this and constantly cheating and things like that. I
Yes.
don't know. You really just would have to seek God on that. One thing about it, I'm a person that's always pro marriage. It can work. It can work.
Yes.
God
Me
can
too.
bring it back together.
Me too.
But, do I understand and do I know that there are some times when marriages do come to an end? It is, but that's something you have to get with God and I would never advise anyone to get out of a marriage. I'm always saying seek the Lord on directions how to get your marriage back in the place that it needs to be. Get it back reconciled. And we know the first place is to constantly go to God and really have a prayer life. A lot of times we say go to God and people like, yeah, and they don't really do it. But if you're not in a place where you can really seek the face of God, then if you have a spiritual sister, mother, someone that you can actually say, hey, I really need you to pray with me, pray
Yes.
for me. It's somebody hopefully that you can talk to and, confide, that type of situation to them. But God can bring any marriage back together, but it's definitely going to take two people. And I mean, God is so big and so good and so God that, if that spouse is just really saying they want to be in the marriage, but they're not, they're just refusing to do counseling. God can, like Keith said, God can work on their heart and their mind and turn that situation around. Amen. So you guys look up, amen. I'm in church, y'all, but you guys y'all keep the comments, keep the questions going. This has been an awesome night. It is our biggest thing that we pray that we're helping someone, giving someone some insight, a little revelation. Um, So we're just having a good time on tonight. So one of the questions that I have from one of the young ladies that I got some questions from says, why aren't guys, they're younger females, and why aren't guys more straightforward? And I know that she did elaborate with me and just said a lot of times, that she has to guess and try to figure out, when she just wish that he would just say, just be upfront with how you feel or what you like, what you want in this relationship, instead of allowing me to be in the guessing game. So
I think I think oftentimes guys are not at do not communicate like women communicate. Guys are more quiet when girls like, hey, what do you? How's your day? A guy might give a one-word answer. It was good. What did you eat today? I just some food. We don't go into details. Well, women will give you every detail. I had salmon. I even poured some sauce on top of it. I had some rice mixed in with it. And I think that guys, because because we're not more communicators like that, we're not straightforward. And then a lot of times, unfortunately some guys want their cake and eat it too.
okay.
They like you, they enjoy spending time with you, but they also enjoy spending time with so and so down the street. And so they don't know how to say it, and they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they don't want to lose you either. And so I think that they just want their cake and eat it too at times, or even on the other hand, it's just they just don't know how to communicate.
Right, right. And so I think that goes to, like, when you're in that dating process and you're looking to get married, definitely get with a pastor or someone that's trained that can give you some counseling to talk about, those type of things, because communication is a super big part of relationships.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. So you may have to learn, some of his language, and then he may have to be willing. Okay, it's not just about me anymore. I'm trying to unite with someone. So now I need to learn a little more in the
Yes.
communication, field of how to express and talk and deal with and give answers and so that we can have this great communication. So, yeah, so I hope that answered your question. Okay, okay. So, our next question is, how do you heal from past relationships? Ooh,
Oh.
how do you heal?
Yeah.
How do you heal? All right, Keith, how do we heal?
uh, the Bible says, one thing I would say is we got to get to a point where we let go and let God. It's going to be hard because to be transparent, I've been through a major challenge where I was hurt, and it took me really having a conversation with God on a daily basis and really pouring my heart out. Then also getting counseling. A lot of people don't like counseling, but it helps. And I
Yes.
tell people it's a major help. A lot of times when we don't get counseling, you deal with mental issues at
Okay.
hand, and those mental issues can get worse, and you can find yourself depressed and ready to kill yourself. So I would say prayer, number one. Two, counseling. I can't stress counseling enough. I can't
Yes.
stress it enough. Um, Multiple times, not just one time, but multiple times, and be open. Have that voice that can listen to you, that can give you some guidance, and be honest with yourself. I would say definitely be honest with yourself and say, hey, this hurts, but you have the willpower to go ahead and get over it. Just continue to trust God, let go and let God, put it in God's hands and leave it there. Don't play a recorder in your head and play it over and over again. let go, and let God.
Yes, yes. I tell you, it is so important. It is so important as Christians that you really have a good foundation. I can't
Yes.
stress that enough. And that foundation is going to come from you praying, and from you just really crying out and
Yes.
communicating with God. God designed you, he made you, and so he knows everything about you and how to put you back together again, and how to
Yes.
help you grow and heal through different things through life. And so God is going to be that foundation, that source, that you're going to have to say, God, I am broken. You're going to be honest. God, I'm hurting. God, I'm in need of healing. God, this thing that happened, this thing that was done to me, it just seems so unfair. You're going to have to come clean with God, and counseling. I'm like you, Keith. I am a big fan of, counseling if it's
Yes.
needed. And you
Yes.
need to seek out, and pray and ask God, onto which counselor to actually go to. And, prayerfully, you can get with someone who is, spiritual Christian,
Yes.
that can help you through a biblical perspective on how to, get through whatever it is that you're going through, and how to heal, and how to be whole. Because if you're broken and you're not healed, then you're not going to be able to move on if you need to move on to another relationship, or you're not going to be able to heal to even have that relationship be
Yes.
everything that it needs to be that you're in. So it's very important that you really get with God and get yourself healed. I always say, sis, you if you're broken and you got all these things going on, you're gonna and it's gonna spill over. And I'm sorry, excuse
And,
me.
and you know what
Bit.
I was going to say too. Um, I want everyone to picture a delicious cup of coffee, and let me tell you what happens to coffee before you start to sip that finished product. Number one, coffee seeds has to be planted in the ground in a dark place. Number two, after the seeds were harvested, they now have to be dried. Number three, those same seeds now have to be roasted in a roaster at a temperature of 55 degrees Fahrenheit. After the seeds have been roasted, they now have to be crushed and pulverized and grinded to change the composition of each bean. And then number five, after the seeds have been grinded, they have to be brewed in boiling hot water. See, the process that those coffee beans had to go through to make a delicious taste of coffee was not easy. You see, you tend to look at someone's amazing marriage or relationship, but have no clue what it took for that marriage or relationship to look good. Those dark places, the grinding, the crushing, and the things that broke them down, they went through that, but the coffee came out tasting delicious. See, a lot of us are going through some major things, or we've gone through a major dark place in our life. But if we look at the coffee went through all that as well. But through it all, it came out making us a delicious cup of coffee. You have no
Okay,
idea what
now.
it took for that coffee to taste that good.
Yes, yes, you are so right. So everybody wants to, a lot of times, patting ourselves after movies and different shows we see where, oh, they just look like they're just the perfect couple, and they just look so amazing, and everything is so wonderful. But it took a process. I don't care,
Yes, a
well,
process.
the movies,
Yes,
they do different things and whatever to make it look all wonderful, but in real life there's a process to have a good relationship. Married people, you still need to have date nights. You still need to,
yes,
enjoy each other. You still need to make time for each other. You still have to, steal away from the bus of work life, everything, even in church, even when you're in ministry and you are,
yes,
pastor and those type of things. you still have to know, yes, I want to keep my relationship with God flowing, but I'm also in a relationship with my wife. I
Yes.
need to keep it flowing as well. God will help you to get that balance because it's so important. Because if you're, not doing what you need for that mate, then I mean, we're saved and we love the Lord, but after a
Yes.
while, that
Yes.
makes them, you're gonna be wondering, wait, okay, wife drifting out, what's going on? So
Yes.
you you gotta really stay in tune with God, and there is a process in everything in order to it to be that thing that we see, like the diamond. There's the coffee story is very similar to the diamond. It's a lot that goes on to actually make that diamond and that shine of that diamond and the
Yes.
beautiful thing that women and some men like diamonds, but it's a process that it took in order for it to be that. So it's just
Yes.
so important. Yeah,
And
so
you said something really important too. Also, a lot
okay.
of us don't have a us plan. We have a plan for our children, but not a us plan. So what I mean by that is we before children, we living life, we traveling, we having a ball, and then children come into play, and then children are high maintenance.
Yes.
They can be at times can be very stressful, and
Yes.
and what we don't understand is, especially moms deal with a lot with children. We gotta bath them, help them with homework, cook for them. If they're young, we
Yes.
gotta put their clothes on because if we leave it up to them, they're gonna look like rainbows, all types of
Okay.
colors. And we do all the mothers do all that, and then the fathers come upstairs ready to get all lovey dovey, and then the wife looks at them and like, shh, please, I'm going to bed. And there was no us plan. We didn't plan for that part. We just planned for the fun, the activities, and all this stuff. But what about the us? What about the kids? Kids got football practice, basketball practice. It
Yes.
is a wear and tear on both people, and many people don't plan for that.
It's very important. It's very important that you don't forget each other within that marriage. It's
Yes,
very, very important, we have to be intentional.
yes, yes,
The
yes,
even the little things, it all just adds up, the little notes, and
yes,
sometimes we need to go back and revisit what was it that I did in order to gain this wife? Some of those sweet things, that men do, to get their wives, and vice versa. The wife, some of the things, that she did, when she cooked a certain meal, invite him over, whatever it was, and him, like poems and notes and
yes,
whatever it was, little gifts, just because, oh, what this for? Just because, and even with our mouths, just even complimenting the maiden, we still gotta keep the fire going and burning, and even in a scenario like what you're saying, when after it's been you guys at first and now we have children and we have responsibilities and people are busy. And yes, I've been there while I was, had daughters that were working in school, and oh my goodness, just going. It has to, again, not saying it's easy, but we have to make it happen. We have to be intentional
yes,
about, noticing things, I remember telling my husband, I said, when we were dating, oh my goodness, he would even notice when I got my eyebrows arched, and I'm like, what man, what man is paying attention? But my point is we have to continue to do those things. Pay attention to
yes,
the things with your mate, and physically even, sometimes if they're not feeling good or something's bothering them, or or we need to get away, or at least one night, it's got to be a good safe aunt or grandma, hopefully,
yes,
or somebody that can, watch the kids for the night, and they go and go away and just have a dinner and just keep things going with them, communication, fire, just the whole nine yards. So it's just so important when you get married that you don't just oh we're married now, so all that's over with. We here, we just stuck with each other, and just nothing. It becomes boring, and it's never an excuse to cheat, but we do know when things like that start happening,
Yes.
the enemy is who he is.
Yes.
He will
Yes.
present things to you, and he will present people to you, and he will, the devil is just so cunning. You're like, oh, my husband hasn't said anything to me in a while, how I look, or complimenting me. And then what the devil go do? Oh, there's Johnny at work. Oh, you look nice. What you do to your hair? So
That's right.
yeah, so I like to say we have to really be intentional about having those doors shut, where, I'll be like, well, thank you. My husband told me that too, that he liked in my hair. It's like it's like, the enemy can't get you with those words, draw
Yes.
you away, and then, you're into something that, you shouldn't be. So, we want to just really be careful about, protecting the marriage,
Yes.
and I would say it's very important for husbands to, pray, not only over their wives, but with their wives,
Yes. Yes.
very important, very important. You really need to come together in God and really allow God to be the head of that relationship, and it will just work out, so much better. Will it be 100% perfect? No. But will it be really wonderful and joyous, and, God in it, and just be amazing? It will be. It will be. Okay, so we have a few more questions. I hope you guys have enjoyed it on tonight. We're getting close to kind of wrapping it up, but we're taking our time. We don't have a set time on tonight. So if you have a question that you've been burning or want to ask on tonight, even if you want to comment on something that's been said tonight, we want you guys to be involved in this conversation, because it is the King's Table on tonight. And we're just, having a great conversation about relationships. Okay. So our next question is, it says, why do women stay in an unhappy marriage?
Hmm.
Okay. Huh. I'll
That's like a
start.
push for you, right? Yeah.
Okay. So, like we said earlier, there are so many factors in a marriage. A lot of times, people are thinking about, okay, I have invested already. Let's just say hypothetically, I've been here 10 years. Um, I married him, at a young age, and I really do, love him. But we have some kind of way we've grown apart, or other factors have came into the relationship, or just different things, or maybe one has cheated, or maybe both has stepped out and cheated, or whatever the situation could be. There's just so many factors to why a woman will sit there and she's excuse me, she's hoping and praying
Mhm.
that things will get better,
Yeah.
and that the situation will turn around, because she's looking at, I have invested 10 years of my life with this man, or however many years.
Hmm.
So a lot of time, that is why women stay in a marriage for way longer sometimes than some of us will be like, oh, no, I'd have been gone. But you also got to remember too that when the hard times come with the marriage, it's not just an escape. You just don't escape. You need to try to work that thing out. So that woman that's in that marriage for a long time, unhappy, is probably because she's wanting, she's trying, she's looking for answers to try to work the marriage out. So she hasn't just given up on it. So yeah, she's miserable and she's unhappy, but she is, especially she's a Christian woman, she is praying, God, I need you to help me to, I need this fix, touch his heart. She's praying, she's believing God to turn that situation around. So that's probably why she's still, in this marriage that she, many people say it's an unhappy marriage. All right, Keith, you got anything to add to that?
I would just piggyback what you said as well. I think that sometimes they may feel like if I do this, I'll change them. They think that they can change them when in actuality only God can change them. But they stay in it long enough because they feel like maybe I try this, that didn't work. Let me try this, that didn't work, and they keep trying different things and hope that that would change the person. But like I said, only one person can change that person, and that's God.
That is so true. And that is a common mistake a lot of people make, wanting to change a guy or wanting to change a girl. And that is a no, no. That is a no, no. Okay, so let's talk about um um how people see red flags when going into a relationship and they ignore the red flags.
Oh,
Especially some of my Christian brothers and sisters, they see it and they're just so wanting this relationship, or they're just so wanting somebody. It's like, oh, I see it, but I really don't see it. So let's have a little conversation about this.
you know how the Bible also says, "Don't be anxious for anything." Sometimes we are so anxious that though there are red flags, we continue just to ignore them. We're hoping that again, if I can just get them in the relationship, if I can just get them married, things would change. And that's the worst thing that can happen because let me tell you, when you come into a relationship, you're coming with two different environments. You know, she might be in a family where it's very quiet in the house and they play Uno, and every time they throw Uno card, they like praise the Lord. But then he may have a family where they play cards too, but they don't play Uno, they play spades, and they
Okay.
cussing each other out, they slamming stuff on the table and calling each other names. And so those are red flags that you want to see. Or you go to a restaurant, and every time you go to the restaurant, he doesn't even offer to pay for the meal, and he's making you pay for the meal every time. That's a red flag. Like, wait a minute, we supposed to be equal. And the more and more you ignore those red flags when you get into marriage, they're going to say, "What you've been dealing with it all this time, so what's the problem?" And that's the worst thing you can do is ignore red flags because they'll bring that in your face later down in the marriage.
Yes, I totally, totally, totally agree. But I don't know. It's like some people really turn a blinder on when it comes to, these red flags,
Yes.
and I mean, and we're just so quick a lot of time to just get into these relationships and not even, get to know a person. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times, his first name and what's his last name? Oh, girl, I don't know. He cute though, ain't he? So we really got to focus on, getting to know people so that because sometimes people have red flags and you see them, but they camouflage in the red flags. Like you
Yes.
see something, it's not quite all the way. You like, that look like a red flag. You like, I don't know, but they're so manipulative, and covering up, certain things. And so I
Yeah.
think a lot of that will come from just really having a good foundation relationship with Christ to the point where
Yes.
God will reveal to you some of
Yes.
those red flags. Some, even if they're camouflaging them, God will show you. Oh, and you'll be like, oh wow, okay, why I didn't see that beforehand. But God will just put the light on it, and all of a sudden you will see it head on. You'll be like, oh, whoa, no, no.
There's an old saying that says all that glitters isn't gold, and I tell people even broken glass is glitters until you get close enough for it to cut you. You know, you got to
Ooh. Yes.
You got to be careful, and when those red flags present itself, you got to immediately communicate about that day. That's not something you wait till you get married and waste all that time, and you get married and then you got to deal with that for the rest of your marriage. That needs to be addressed right now, immediately.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Woo, it's been so good tonight. Okay, so we got another question. It says, in a relationship, should the man pay for everything or 50-50?
Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think it's based upon the two people's financial situation.
Okay.
It's in a perfect world, the man should definitely pay
Yes, in a
everything.
perfect world.
But we live in 2021.
Okay.
We got inflation, taxes, debt, big business, and all that stuff coming to play. And
True.
sometimes a man may not be able to afford, even though he had the intentions to do it, but he may not be able to afford it. And I think that's something that's really based upon both people's financial situation at the time.
Yes, I so agree. In the ideal world, yes, you want the shining armor to, take care of everything, but we are in a world where it's just so it's difficult.
Yeah.
Even with people sometimes, in a six-figure
Yes.
family, it can become very difficult, depending on what that lifestyle and what's going on
Yes.
and things like that. So, it is definitely okay to, for a woman to treat and things like that, your husband or something like that. Now, I don't know. What do you feel about like if you're dating? I don't know about
No,
that. I think
no,
he gonna have
no,
to, yeah, I
no.
think he gonna have to come through. He gonna have to find.
Yes, he he got to put a ring on it. Doing that when you're dating, no, because again, that can cause problems too. Because then people will want their stuff back when we break up. Give me
Ooh,
everything back.
yes, that is so true. That is so true. And I ain't giving that. I would be giving that.
Nope, nope.
You would get that back. But I did. I had the situation, before Jesus, and I was in this relationship. And when I broke up with the guy, the Lord actually told me everything that He had ever brought me to trash it.
Wow.
And yes, it was so deep. And I was like, wait a minute, God, okay, this can't okay, is this guy for real? I was like, some of this stuff is some good stuff. Like, you need to trash it, put it in the trash can. I said, okay, I tell you what, God, I kind of see what you're saying. You really want me to, cut ties. You want me to trust you. You want me to leave that relationship alone. I said, okay. So how about I just give some things away? He's like, no, you just need to trash it. So, so, all right, you guys, we're getting ready to wrap it up. I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed tonight. We have had an awesome night with my guests here and at the King's table. And go ahead and continue to, if you got any questions, because we're getting ready to close it up for tonight. Who knows? Maybe later on in the year, maybe we'll do a part two. I don't
Yes.
know. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. We've talked about some great discussions, some great questions on tonight. And I do believe that some people left here with some help on tonight with
Yes.
in their relationships. And I hope and pray that on tonight that, husband and wife, somebody see this and they're gonna say, you know what, we need to go spice it up. We need to go on a date night. We need to,
Yes.
see about each other. We need to spend a little more time with each other, a little more communication, and if therapy is needed, you're gonna go out and be seeking and praying for, guidance on where to go. So we just hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed tonight. So our next question says, it says, I just had it and I lost it. Um, huh. That is so interesting. Well, anyway, I can't find that question right now, but I will go to this. I was talking to a young lady on today, and she was saying that, she mentioned to a guy that she is dating how there are other attractive men that are out there. And he didn't like that statement. It caused a little friction with them. And so I just want to say, we do understand and know that, there's attractive people all through the world.
Yes,
uh, but it's about who you're saying that you're committed to,
yes,
so we can't, and then there's different things that make people attracted to different people. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
I remember when I was dating my husband, one of the main things I used to tell him all the time, I hadn't talked about this in a while, I don't know if he remember, I always tell him, oh, I so love your brain. I was so
Oh,
attractive. I was so attracted to, he's a very educated man, very educated. And I was like, I just love the way you think. His thought process was just intriguing and attractive to me. So there's just so many things other than the just physical outer appearance that people are attractive to. And so we just have to know that it, I tell my sometimes I tell my husband, I say, oh, she's pretty, huh? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, she's pretty,
trick question. That's
hey, it's beauty everywhere. Look, because I call another sister pretty, don't mean I don't think I know who I am. Let's
Mhm.
not forget that. Sisters give other sisters prop all the time, but we should never feel inferior. If another person looks nice, and it should be just a compliment, not a gawk, a stare, or leading to something else. But you know she's pretty, yes babe, she's pretty, and move on. Now if you like, oh, yeah, she, okay, wait a minute. we got an issue here, what's going on? But this has been an awesome night. This has been so good to just conversate and come together and talk
Yes.
about relationships. And if you guys later on have any questions, even after the broadcast has ended, I'm going to take time. And if Mr. Keith has some time, we're going to
Yes.
take time and come back and give you a little feedback on your questions. Thank you, Marilyn Green. She says, awesome. We appreciate
Thank you.
everyone who have came to be with us on tonight for the table of truth from a godly perspective, the King's table. It has been awesome. It has been amazing. And we look forward to next time. There'll be a different discussion. So you just have to kind of be watching the social media page, because this particular one is going to be however the Lord leads. So it won't be a particular day that I'll come on every time. But whenever the Lord leads me, then the King Table is coming forth with another great topic and discussion. We thank all of you guys for participating. You have been wonderful. Thank you for your comments. Any replayers, go ahead and like and share. And let everybody know that you were here. We thank you guys for watching. I don't often say, but if anybody is led to sow a seed to the YCG ministry, you are more than welcome, because to do ministry on any level, we all know what it takes finances. So I I'm gonna allow my guest to tell you a little bit about what he do in his occupation, his profession, he's a entrepreneur, great man of God that also have a great business. And so we want to be a blessing to him and allow him to come tell you what it is that he do. So that way, if anybody wants to connect with him on that level, you are more than welcome. And after he tells us about himself, we're going to be signing off until next time. YCG Ministry, the King Table. Go ahead, Keith. You have it.
I appreciate it. Well, Ladies and gentlemen, I am an entrepreneur. I teach and educate people on how to fix their credit, eliminate debt, learn how to invest, and also teach people how to earn another stream of income online. You can find more information by going to my website at www.myfinancialvision.com. That's www.myfinancialvision.com. You can find more information there, and you can also reach me at 240 305 1568. That's 240 305 1568. And again, my name is Keith Tucker. I'm an entrepreneur, teach and educate credit repair, debt elimination, investing, and how to earn extra income online.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. And so, once again, we are so excited that you came and joined us. We're getting ready to end this broadcast. Thank you. As I call my Facebook friend, he makes some awesome quotes, you guys,
Thank
and I'll be
you.
like,
Thank
ooh,
you.
he is speaking. He is speaking. And I prayed about who to bring on tonight. And I told him anyway, because we always try to support each other with comments and like on social media. I
Yeah.
told him he's my Facebook brother. And so,
Yes.
Facebook brother, it's been so nice
Thank you
to
for having
finally
me.
meet you. And you're so welcome. We're so honored to have you. And it's been a blessed night. So, until next time, you guys, YCG Ministry, the King Table. We have told the truth, the table of truth. See you next time.
See you
Good
later.
night.
Good night.